Hello, comrades, and welcome to episode number 251 of the Terminus podcast for the weeks of April 12th, 2025. I'm your host, Ellis, otherwise known as the Admiral. With me, I have Jonathan Van Aken, Tyler L., and Jacob Durbin, and I think those names are in the wrong order, but that's okay, we'll live. Tyler should be underneath Jader because Tyler was on last time, and that's how the waiver wire works. There is a logic to this. I want everyone to know there's a logic to this. I don't just put the names in a random order. It has to do with how long it's been since someone's been on. Anyway, joining us for this episode is 2026 Productions, or Ryan as we know and love him.
Hi everyone, back by unpopular demand. Hello, hi.
We're doing a sequel.
Yeah.
The same energy as they said I could be anything, so I became a problem.
True.
Listen, of course. Listen, you have
wrong
to.
podcast for that.
Well, we'll hold on. Remember, every good story has a plot.
Yeah. This
becomes the plot.
This week we're going to be talking about the East Broad Tap, the Wilmington and Western, the Mount Rainier Scenic, Athern, and the new Acellas, or as I refuse to not call them, the Avelias. The train will terminate at this station.
Yes,
We're there.
are in wonderful, wonderful Enoshima.
Alright, I think Tyler saying that was clean enough that I can just cut the rest of that disaster. And
Aww.
you know, people are making me do editing, and I bring this upon myself, but anywho, Class 1 Mantle of Responsibility, kind of a mess in and of itself. The first wreck on record, and a lot of these were clustered towards the beginning of the month, on the 2nd, CSX derailed 2 locomotives. They hit some on-track equipment. I don't know if there were any... no injuries, leaks, or spills. Okay. So... And it was a minor derailment, too, it looks like, because those locomotives do not look like they're off the track to me. But, you know, who am I to say? I'm looking at it from a helicopter. That was CSX's first of the period. CSX followed up the next day with this post on Facebook by getting a train blown over by a bad storm. BNSF, that same day, also got blown over by a storm. And CPKC that same day... also got blown over by a storm. So, were these storms in the same place? Was there collusion? Was it done on purpose? I can't say. But the 4th, so the following day, so 3 trains attacked by weather on the same day. Also, CSX hit and killed someone that same day in Tampa. The 4th had 2 wrecks. One Norfolk Southern hitting a truck, I think. Yes, Norfolk Southern hitting a truck. We have a video of this one. I want to know what was in the truck. I want to see if this is a spectacular crash or not. No, okay, sort of solid. It honestly looks like the trailer, like the mobile operations trailer from GTA. And then UP had an accident near Tucson. Trespasser was struck and killed. This was also on April 3rd, although the article was posted on the 4th. The 5th, April 5th, there were 2 incidents. One was CPKC, of a semi-trailer making a turn, not checking its blind spot, pulls out right in front of a local, and the trailer gets obliterated and like dust goes everywhere. I don't know what's in that trailer, but it's some sort of grain maybe, or dirt. Also on the 5th, Union Pacific derailed near McGrew. I don't know where that is.
Yeah, I was going to say, are we sure McGrew is a real place?
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
It's where Gru lives.
Yeah, it's
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we have
assemble.
two items on this.
Well, I mean, actually, if McGrew was a real place in Union Pacific, there, I guess the minions did assemble because the engines are yellow.
Exactly.
That's true. And the minions always serve the most evil person available, right? So, what does that
Yeah,
say
there
about
you
the
go.
Class 1 railroads?
This says a lot about society, and yet we live in one.
Yeah. A locomotive could be seen laying on its side about 2 miles east of McGrew with a single car still attached and upright. So the locomotive rolled over, but it was attached to a hopper with a rotary gun. Sorry, I'm not sure if it's a hopper or a rotary gun, but the fact that the engine is on its side and the car is straight up, it would be very funny to me if it's a rotary gun. Sadly, the more I look at it, the more it looks like a hopper. That's a bummer. On the 6th, CSX had its... Oh, wait, I missed one. Sorry. BNSF on the 5th. Something happened. They had a train derailment near Mammoth Spring. There is no other information on it. On the 6th, CSX wrecked a train somewhere, and there's a lot of dust all over the place. It was in Indianapolis, apparently. I don't know what they spilled. It looks like they just spilled salt all over the ground.
I'm sorry to tell you,
it has not been a good few weeks for Class 1s, has it?
Well, this is normal. This is normal when... So there's one user on our Discord, which you can... A link to that's in the description. Named... shoot. Why is the username escaping me? I almost said the wrong name, which is why I had to stop myself. David Mitchell gathers up a whole lot of train wrecks and posts them. When he's active, this is a lot longer of a section. We find all the little stuff. Speaking of which, not so little. One dead after being hit by a CPKC train in Calgary. That was on April 7th. April 8th is a Union Pacific wreck. Oh, this one has my vote. Union Pacific obliterates a truck full of beer.
But why is all the rum gone?
Thanks, UP. So that's that. I think that's all of them except for this very last one, which was on April 12th. Which is CPKC. It's like not dash cam footage. Well, I guess dash cam footage. Dashboard of the locomotive as it runs into the back of another train. I think that's everything. I think that's all of the things that we have for this period. The only name I did not say during that entire portion is Canadian National. Canadian National is now the current holder. Congratulations to Canadian National. You're the holder of the Class 1 Mantle of Responsibility. We'll see how long that lasts, because NS had it for exactly one podcast. NS no longer has the mantle. So, votes for Best Wreck, I'm going to go with the truck full of beer, although I'll hear arguments.
Beer truck.
Yeah, beer truck. It was on National Beer Day,
truck.
anyways.
Oh, no!
This was a war crime against beers.
This is collusion. So they
was a
turned on the
targeted
weather
strike.
machine, and they didn't hit the beer truck, so they sent in a train.
I'm sending in more trains.
Exactly. Train cannon.
All right, I'm gonna tidy up the document here. All of the links to everything on all of these wrecks is available in the cargoes document, which is in the description. So if you want to see any of the videos, any of the pictures, any of the articles, they're all down there under Class 1 Mantle of Responsibility. There's also a link to the camera we're using for anyone that wants to, for anyone that thinks this view is cool and wants to watch it. What have you all been up to in the last couple of weeks? I mean, most of you haven't been on the pod in longer, but Tyler, you were on a couple weeks ago. Have you done anything fun since then?
Yeah, actually, it's we did a sequel.
To
O'Gillies, our good friend O'Gillies came down for another visit because O'Gillies had to go off to a little thing called the Rocky Mountain Train Show, if I'm not mistaken. So we spent a little
heard of it.
time
Sounds
by
like a
the
backwater
Phoenix.
show.
I wonder what happens there. Hmm. We'll hear about that hopefully soon, whenever next time he's on. But ended up spending a little while. We got Euros. Um, Watched UP come through with a train down to Tucson, which was nice. That was like one of the first times I've actually seen one that I was like waiting around to see, and we didn't even have to use a scanner. There's a lot of luck there. Um, Speaking of sequels as well, um, this is getting out of hand now. There's two of
Oh,
them
no.
for two of my classes of equipment. So I did order, as was a couple of weeks ago. It took like 2 weeks to get through the mail. Were two used Kato. And one of them was a C11. The other one is a C56. They're the two. There's the second and third engines in this photo,
I got the photo. There it goes.
and they were. So these are part of a plan of mine. I'm trying to model the Oigawa Railway, which we discussed in the previous episode in the news section. The C56 will remain a C56, but it's going to get modified to pseudo tie specifications with the lowered
Oh.
cab, a few other things.
Hello.
Yes. To represent C5644, the headlight will change. The C11 is going to be converted into a C10. Represent C108, which is the only surviving member of the class. C11, that's right next to the two, is going to get slightly modified to match 190. I need to acquire another C11 at some point to make 227. And speaking of acquisitions, actually, just a little fun side tangent before we get into Bender's segue, because I do also have, but we'll bring it up in a minute. There's a fun little bit of research that happened last weeks of just things that I might include in my collection, and one of them is back in the 70s and 80s, the Japanese National Railways did run, because the Oigawa, as discussed, is a private line. However, it does no longer does it have a direct rail connection, but it used to have a direct rail connection to the Hokkaido main line. They ran a limited express all the way across the line. JNR did. Which is just the pictures I just sent. The equipment, though, and this is the reason why I'm probably going to get a set at some point. This might get added to the order we're about to discuss. Is that's a 113 series. I can't make this shit up.
Oh my god.
Literally everywhere you model, it has a 113 series guaranteed.
It's just 113. I walk in, 113, I drop dead.
Is this
That's awesome.
113?
Yeah, it's a 113.
113 is in the room with us.
It's okay.
If JNR and JR didn't want a 113 on it, they ran a 115, and that's very close. So it's impossible to escape.
It is.
No.
Silly.
115 is definitely escaped. I'm not counting 115s. I'm not counting near misses.
But they're the exact same class, effectively.
Okay, but this is a 113. That's the problem.
Yeah, that is the thing. This is an actual 113. Also, can be seen the merging train in the background there.
But yeah, so I have even more things in the mail, which is the C12, which I'm not going to throw a picture up of, because there's also stuff in this specific order from a certain model shop halfway across the world at Bender.
Okay.
Yes. So, I was tempted by the temptress to get into N scale, and so I have.
By the temptress.
The problem, yeah, Well,
Your
the
son.
Huntress being, yeah.
Okay.
Uh, the first picture here is what I initially thought was really nice. It's one of the JR Hokkaido C11s that they run, and I'm not like very much interested in running Hokkaido or anything, but it's nice. It's a neat little set. You get a C11 and 5, one of these Series 12s we discussed, right? So
Yes.
it's real nice. The box is cool too, and it's just a nice package, you know. And then we add that to the order. It
Okay.
This alone was more than everything until Mr. Tyler here finally surpassed me in price, but I now have him beat once more. So the store that we're buying from, we're in a forum, and it has a Discord server. And in this Discord server, one of the employees posted a couple pictures of backstock, and then this picture of backstock, there were three things that interested three of us. One of them being, well, two of them being 8620s, and one of them being a C62. But whatever. You can get a
Okay.
C62 anytime, right?
Sure.
East has already claimed the other 8620, so I was left with 58654, which is the second picture. This is the one that they were running up until very recently. It's a nice model, and the problem is the other 8620 I can get pretty much anytime. They're a lot more common to come by, and people are willing to let them go. 58654 here is, well, it's the pretty one, and it's more expensive. That's for sure. So this just got added to the order like yesterday. So that's a fun little tidbit. Just a neat little guy. 8620s are great, and this one was the oldest operating locomotive. Well, oldest operating mainline locomotive in Japan until it stopped running.
Until it wasn't.
Cries.
Yeah, until JR Kyushu decided, no, we don't want to. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Damn.
The only other thing I have to talk about here is that Milky sent me a picture of the W9M operating their Jeep, and they put the Herald on it. They put two Heralds on it, actually. They have one that the railway never used. Well, they did, but they didn't. They made it and then proceeded to not use it. And then the other one over there they have on the long hood is the Bennett Lumber Company logo, which are they're their main customer. So that's neat. I appreciate that.
Cool.
That is all.
Anyone else been playing with models?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh boy, let me go through my pictures here. There's a lot here.
there is a lot. There's a lot of really spicy.
Well,
Yeah, a lot
mean,
of cool stuff.
is spicy the right word?
So yeah, let's go with it.
Okay. Sure.
So all right, so the first picture, the two C&O cars, that's I totally forgot I pre-ordered these. Walters is continually wanting more and more of my money.
Mm-hmm.
They announced that they were doing these a few months ago. I pre-ordered these and forgot about it. And then I see a notification from Discover Card charged to Train World. I'm like, what?
Oops.
Whoops.
either
Oops.
somebody hacked either somebody with the same interest as me has stolen my card, or
Yeah, or these showed up, and I'm really happy with them. I just had to mend the couplers a little bit, but that's fine. They work really well. The second pictures with well, the train itself is kind of blurry, but I brought 472 to run them with, and they work really well. The only thing is that, and I'll get to this later, but my F15 450, well, it can't pull worth a damn, and it at certain points in our club layout, which is basically flat, like the modules themselves aren't quite level between each other, so there are some little grades here and there.
Mhm.
But at points it was struggling with that. So
Hmm.
I don't know what to do about that engine. Like,
Not a lot of train.
yeah, not a lot of train. It can't really pull worth a damn. And I could add bullfrogs not to make traction tires, and I tried that, but it negatively impacted the power pickup so much it was stuttering real bad at lower speeds.
Hmm.
Is this your which locomotive is this? Is this the first one you posted or the second one?
That's the second one.
450.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean it does look like a sad bean.
yeah. It's a great looking engine, and I wanted one of those for a long, long time, but it can't pull anything. And now it has the problem of where the lead truck will love to derail in curves, and I think the rearmost lead wheel hits the first driving wheel and it shorts out.
Huh.
So I don't know what. Yeah, so I can either put plastic wheels in there, which would solve the shorting problem, but then I don't know why it derails. Maybe plastic wheels would solve that problem. I don't know. Because if I can't fix it, I'm debating just selling it and getting a cheaper Pacific to letter up C&O, and then there it's something that'll just like, oddly enough, 472 is more reliable. It broke a wire though when I was handling it the other day, but it's fine. I can fix that. I might do it tonight. We'll see. Oh,
Okay.
not tonight. Yeah.
What's
Uh,
this diesel consist? This is my kind of diesel consist. The only thing you're missing is like a random Alco in the middle.
Oh God.
I have one Alco, but it needs to be speed matched with everything else.
Jader, can I have your
But
Alco?
that, I mean, maybe. That was what was it last week? I on a whim I decided, you know what, I'll bring all my C&O diesels with sound and just see how they play with each other. There's two F units in that consist. They're speed matched with each other, and then the three Jeeps in the middle are all speed matched with each other. But between the F units and Jeeps aren't speed matched with like it's not cross pollinated, I guess. But surprisingly, it worked almost perfectly. And I didn't count the cars, but I think like a 20-foot long train with them, and that's a big train. That was fun. It was really really loud because they all have sound. 4 out of the 5 engines have scale sound system speakers, so they're very loud, lots of bass. That was fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
You've also got the Carpet Central setup, which I
yeah.
was I was looking at your arrangement here.
That was well, for a little while now, I've been thinking like I just want to be able to test my stuff at home, because before this, it was kind of like I have Easy Track, but it can't really handle my bigger engines or passenger cars, and it sort of works, but my Easy Track doesn't. It's kind of old, doesn't work the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been thinking, okay, maybe I'll get some unit track, and seeing what like half the people in this server at this point in the last couple months get a one of the sets of unit track that has a loop of track and a controller and all of that.
One of us. One of
One
us.
of us.
Yeah, and I was in local hobby
We're not
shop on
sponsored.
Friday because I wanted to enjoy my last Friday off work because I started a new job this week, and then I'm going to it's going to be 5-day work weeks, so slight disappointment, but there's not much I can do about it. I'm looking forward to it though. But I was in there, and they had not a whole lot of unit track, but a little section of unit track, including 2 of those HM1 sets. So I started doing a little research, and then I had to get going to an appointment. So I went to that, and then came back and decided, just, you know what, it's gonna be a lot of money, but I'd rather just buy the Unitrack now, and it's a future investment. I can run a lot of my stuff on it. Like, some of my bigger brass engines have problems with the curves, but other than that, it's fine. Works really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent probably a couple hours just kind of sitting on the floor running stuff around in circles, because since we moved house, other than at the club once or twice a week, I don't get to run my stuff all that often.
I feel that my stuff just sits in a big pile near the front door. You've seen it.
Yeah.
I need to. I got a
that-
display case, and I got a bunch of like crap track to put in the display case, and I didn't do anything after that. It's just sort of sitting. I have an empty display case and a box full of track.
Well, you know what you must do then?
What, have you over so you can make organize my display case?
Well, yes.
Well, and come do that. And as a sort of compensation, we'll go up to Maine. We'll go to former Mecca. Our
Go to
actually
the promised land.
as I mentioned sort of in the pre-show, the work weekend is like 2 weeks away. The spring work weekend. It's the 26th, 27th, I think. I actually have the most recent. I have the most recent mailer right in front of me on my desk. I went up with TJ and Mew, like a week ago. Yeah, we went up last weekend because I didn't talk about it last podcast. So, we went up last weekend and took the rules class. We arrived like halfway through the engineering conductor rules class. We sort of sat in for that. I sat in a metal folding chair right next to the coal stove that heats the roundhouse, because it was being done inside the roundhouse. Roundhouse is looking better and better, by the way. It's great up there. And the chair got very hot, so I like scooted the chair probably 2 or 3 feet over the course of the session, away from the stove. And then we hung out. We stayed in there for the brakeman training, and then we went to have lunch, which was provided because the WWF is a wonderful place. And then we came back and did like the basic class, and then I took the test. I took the test because Mew and TJ have already taken the test, and they just needed their results. I had to take it because every time I've been up there, I have missed the opportunity to take it. So, took it, submitted my results. Turns out we all passed. And then I walked outside, and they were just replacing ties in front of the water tower. And, like, everyone was out there, like 15 people out there replacing ties. And I walked up, and I was like, didn't you say there was going to be a demonstration? And Dan, the foreman, goes, well, yeah, that's what I told everyone. This is the demonstration. It's a hands-on demonstration. So, grabbed a spike puller and a thing and a shovel and started getting to work. We replaced probably 6 ties. And then we ran out of new ties. Because those are the ones that were laid out ahead of time. And then we decided to have a little work session on number 10. We went inside. We spent about an hour and a half trying to figure out how to find the center of a circle and line it up with another center of a circle. We were trying to line up like the big metal ring that goes around the firebox door and separates the outside of the firebox with the inside of the firebox. And so we agonized over this because we wanted it to be like precise. And then the guy who like is the actual head honcho of this came in and was like, oh, you could have just lined it up with these markings here, which is what we did originally, and then decided that doing it by eye was not precise enough. So after all that time, And TJ
Love
and
that.
Mew and I were still deciding whether we were going to make it a day trip or not. Like, we had brought stuff to stay over, but we weren't sure if we wanted to. And it's like 5:30, and we could have been done with that much earlier. We break out the drill, because the reason we were lining it up was to drill holes in it so we could, bolt the whole thing together, the firebox apparatus. And the drill wouldn't work. So we just sort of gave up and everyone went home. There's a great photo of us all standing around, just sort of staring at the metal, trying to figure out how to center it. There was maybe one brain cell in that entire engine house, in that entire shop building.
Do you have that picture?
Hold on. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in, like, Horseman Discussion, maybe? I will go find it.
Okay.
I know we didn't quite finish up with the model stuff, I would imagine, but has anyone else been out on adventures like so?
Not really. It's the off season.
That's true.
I mean, I haven't been on any adventures of real railroading, but I've been keeping myself plenty busy when it comes to model railroading.
You've been on adventures in the smaller scale.
Well, you have to understand something. I don't have a life. Like, I really don't. I need to get one. I hear they're really good to have and really good investments.
No.
And I know I've been dragging my feet on
Mhm.
getting one, but I really
Yeah.
need to.
Mm.
So, not to steal the show or anything, but ladies and gentlemen and non-binary pals and people on the gender spectrum alike, let's just say that between now and my last time that I was on the podcast, some shit went down.
Okay. Uh-oh, what does this
In the
mean?
sense that I went... Well, the highlights being, one, I sent the photos. Ellis, do you have the photos on hand?
Hold on, I just found the Brain Trust Builds 10 photo.
This is beautiful.
Staring at the firebox door ring. I have some photos. Where are these photos?
Oh,
Here,
I found them.
Yeah.
What is this?
So,
I am
for-
not me. Trains,
yeah, okay, so
Trains
starting with-
2009 billboard.
Yeah, so welcome. So we're starting with the train screenshots. So basically, this is a segment I like to call 2026 Productions and the paid Christopher Kovacs Trains commission that he still hasn't paid me yet for.
Damn.
Basically,
Calling him out.
I found... no, I'm not. I'm stating it as it is. I love Christopher Kovacs dearly. I'd take him on a date if I could. But the cool thing is that I was asked to film some train stuff for his coffee book audiobook reading.
Go
For his
on.
coffee table book audio reading. Yes. It's basically one of those coffee table books that's like, that basically is there to just kind of, like, worship, like preserved steam locomotives.
Mhm.
It's one of those. And so I've been filming for him, and I built some special sets. So that's what all of those are. The I Am Not Me set, that's supposed to be the Cuyahoga Valley Scenic. The set with 587, that's supposed to be generic America. And the set with 2476 with Nick in it, that's supposed to be the Peninsula Commute. It's been great fun because I've been basically high riding and filming and bilming. And Nick is there. And so is my OC, Donut Steel. Yeah. Okay, what else? So onto the two model things that I posted. So, while I was in Tiabu Land, while I was in the UK, I got myself an Italian steam locomotive.
Wonderful.
Why not? And then the real piece de resistance. Jader, you're gonna love this one. You're gonna crack up. On eBay,
I'm on the edge of my
someone
seat.
was... Yeah, you should be. You're gonna get a kick out of this. I think this whole chat will. I came across a listing. Somebody was selling a River Rossi Berkshire.
Oh God.
Now,
Don't do this to me.
So someone was selling a Rivarossi Berkshire. Normally, I would not jump on this, but it had some very interesting quirks and characteristics. One, this person apparently worked on 587 when it was it being restored. So they just took a piece of coal from it, crushed it up, and put it inside the Rivarossi model. So I
Cool.
now officially own a part of 587 by way of the coal in the 759. Secondly, and perhaps most importantly, somebody stuffed a TCS WoW sound decoder in it.
What?
Yes.
Yeah, I heard about this.
Yeah, somebody stuffed a TCS WoW sound decoder in it, put a Keep Alive in it, wired up the Mars light so it's an independent function, made it reversible headlights as well, and added reversing marker lights too.
Oh my god.
They put so
That's
much work into a
nice.
model that is ostensibly not worth that effort at all.
Pimp
Also-
my ride.
Also, I just see American
Yeah,
Railroads,
right.
and my first thought is Summit River and Pine Valley.
Oh god.
So now I have Friendo over here. I'm gonna, in approximately 23 days, we're gonna see if he actually works. Because that's when I'll have access to track. But
I was gonna say, please tell me the seller said that it worked.
no, the seller included their phone number, their email, and all of the TCS WoW Sound paperwork.
Base.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the seller is like this wholesome cinnamon bun of a man. Like I wanna smooch him. Like he's so sweet. Like he didn't have to do all of that, but he did.
Oh my god.
Cinema.
So
Oh shoot, I closed out the wrong tab.
so he's
Cinnabon of a man.
Where did the camera
yeah, he
go?
is. He's a cinnamon bun of a man. I hope he's doing well. Like honestly, here's the thing: if this thing's actually worthwhile, I might have to send him my Bachmann 060s and tell him stuff a lock sound decoder in this, please.
I have
There's-
I guess a hot take about lock sound.
Uh-oh. No, go ahead. Go on, Jader.
Okay.
Well, we need to hear this.
Okay. This is just based on my experience, because I guess the big three sound decoders, they're all good. They're all good in their own ways. But for Steam, I kind of think ESU is doo-doo ass.
Okay, counterpoint. You put Beauty and the Beast, Be My Guest on the RM. Name any other decoder where you can do that.
See, that's true. But I think from
I've left you flabbergasted. I know. We're so real. I'm kidding.
I get your point. Like, you can do the funny sounds, you can put whatever sounds you want. But then just from out of all the decoders I've installed in the past year, granted, I think some of this might be my fault. I've had I think I've sent back 3 or 4 ESU decoders for repairs. TCS has been fine, although I've only installed really 1. And then Soundtracks has been fine, and I've installed several.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then from an when you're actually operating them, I really like the I don't know, the Soundtracks and TCS decoders just seem to run better with Steam. I don't know what it is.
Gator,
Interesting.
you make very valid points, and you know what? We're gonna do some compare and contrast because we're gonna do some compare and contrast. Because you're probably onto something as well. The locks. I will say what I appreciate about a good Tsunami decoder is the fact that you already have a bajillion whistles programmed in there.
Yeah, and they just work quite well.
It just
Yeah.
works.
Yeah, ESU decoders, they're kind of finicky to program, and the rod clink sounds are kind of garbage. They don't really sound like rod clinking to me. It's just kind of, I don't know, it just doesn't sound right. I mean, I could change it, but still, it's a lot of work to do that. So I don't know. I've kind of had the thought like, what if I just took out all my ESU steam decoders, sold them, or repurposed it for diesels, and then replaced those with other decoders? I could do that, but that's a lot of time that I don't have.
Fair.
Especially if I want to keep buying brass models that I also don't have the time for. There have been. Oh, did that just sell? No, it didn't.
Aw.
There have been. Well, Tyler, you'll know this, but long story short, the Columbus, Delaware, and Marion Railway parlor cars, 500 and 501. 501 still exists. It lives under a tarp in Worthington. But if I had it, like, I didn't know models of them existed until about like last Tuesday. And if I had a nickel for every one of those models that I've seen on eBay in the past, in the past week, I'd have 3 nickels, which isn't penny, but it's weird that there are 3 of them on eBay all at the same time.
Yeah.
I want to buy one of them, but I absolutely
Oh,
don't
God.
need it.
You don't need it.
See, that's so real, Jader. Like, I want C58, 239, and some Series 12 cars, but maybe it's not in the
You
cards
need
right
that.
now.
You need that.
I
And
need
then
it.
there's-
You don't need the
The-
C58. You need the cars.
And then there's an F-15 that's been sitting on eBay with the tender that I want, but this one I'd have to change the gearbox and all that, and I don't want to do that.
By the way, Jader, yo tengo una pregunta.
If it's about 53, I'm throwing it out the window.
No, actually, no.
Bye.
No. Well, I mean, here's the thing: if you did damage 53, I'm taking you to small claims court.
Wow. All right.
But
Ryan is
My
maybe
question-
We'll make a new
spicy
one.
was the right word.
no. Here's the thing: I am a rising business major, meaning that I have to protect my assets and invest in stocks and finances and securities and dress in a polo shirt and wear my hat backwards and.
Actually, these days I've heard that the correct course of action is to take all your money out of every institution and store it in your mattress.
later. But
Gold.
but actually, my
Bottle
question
caps.
for you, Mr. Durbin, my question for you, Mr. Durbin, was the Bachmann 2662s. Do you know anything about them?
No.
Okay, well that okay. Anyways, next topic.
The shortest answer possible.
What he does? What am I supposed to say? Well, tell me more. Just no.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just
Tell me
saying.
more about this thing you know nothing about.
I wasn't saying
Exactly.
you gave a short answer. The answer is no. N-O, period. It's a complete
It's a
sentence.
good answer. It's a meaty answer.
It's a
full
good
of protein.
answer. This is
Nitrogen
Family
oxide.
Feud now.
Show me Bachmann 2662.
Please.
Can't see, but I did a X sign with my hands.
The
That was
X cart.
Oh no.
fun. X
So
cart.
how about them Boston Blue Sox?
No, seriously though, I didn't see the X cart when I was there. I didn't check on the status of the X cart. I should have checked on that. Better, we haven't touched your stuff at all, really, aside from the. Well, we touched on the models. What is the W9M thing?
Oh, so mostly it's just a picture that Milky just sent to me one day. It's not mine or anything. It's they just kind of showed up there. So what really I like about this picture, number one, it's a nice shot of the side of the Jeep that I would really like to go back and see.
It's a great trading
Eventually.
card photo, honestly.
It's a little low quality, but we can work with it.
Eh.
What I like is that on this is the logo that they cooked up.
Oh,
The White Pine Route logo on there, they never actually used except in company documents. I'll go grab it real quick. I have a
interesting.
copy of it on me computer.
It's got the flashing beacon on the roof and everything.
Yeah, exactly. They gotta be safe. Yep, there it is. In the
You
Terminus
gotta know where
podcast,
the train is.
there is
Yeah,
the
well,
logo.
listen, you can never have too many flashing lights.
That's true.
On the rear, on the long hood, you can see it also has the winterization hatch. That's kind of neat. It has the Bennett Lumber Company logo, which is their main customer, I do believe, and still active. On the other side of the Potlatch Depot, actually, is one of their former all-door boxcars they use as a stage. It's pretty neat.
It is neat.
Yeah, I do think it's pretty neat. Like,
Probably-
obviously, this company is kind of just like a recreation of the old one in pretty much every sense of the word. Obviously, they have the name. The only thing they don't really have is the reporting mark, which is fine.
Who
and
has the
the paint.
reporting mark?
Technically, it would probably be
Oh,
CP Casey, because
Boo.
it went to the Milwaukee, and the Milwaukee got absorbed by, the Sioux,
Milwaukee.
and then,
I just
so now they just run as WRAX.
this logo, by the way, just seeing like the felled tree on it and everything. I need this logo redone so it says hundreds of beavers.
Oh goodness. I was thinking about, like, doing it recently, just, like, putting my skills to the test and actually trying to make that freehand. Yeah, the only other thing I've seen that logo on is company documents.
It's a good logo. I need to remember to redo that and just send it to Casey with no context. Like after the podcast is done.
I know what you mean though. Like it's interesting looking.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, I have
yeah, there it
one
is.
I have one final story for us. We're not
there
going to
is
do
the
locomotive
Herald
verses.
on a
Um,
company.
Oh,
We're not. It breaks the flow of the show, and for now, I've been doing so much other stuff. I'm putting it on hiatus.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry, Jader. That's cool.
but tradition.
I know. It's like,
Can I sing a song instead?
no,
Why?
because that would also break the flow.
What? A small intermission? Y'all can go, like, get more popcorn?
The point is to not have an intermission.
If it would
But
make you
every
feel
good
better, you
show
can sing
has
this.
a plot and an intermission.
You could sing this song for me later.
Sure. Anyways, continue, Ellis.
No, I have one final story before we go into discussion topics, and this is a Providence Northern story, because as many of you may know, and both of our viewers probably know, the Providence Northern presidency is an office that I had held for 2 years, and then I hit my term limit, which is 2 years, and got replaced. So I'm now the vice president, and I can be president again next year, and I might. But until then, I am trying to make myself, continue to make myself useful to the club. The Providence Northern, for the record, is my local model railroad club. We're over in Warwick. You can find us online at providencenorthern.com. There's also a link in the cargo stock. So I've been vice president. I haven't really had to run the meetings because the president has been there, and that's pretty much the only job of the vice president, is to step in. But I decided that there were some. We've got a lot of younger members right now, which is nice. But there's been a lot of discussion around what do we do with our social medias, which are mostly dormant. I mean, our Facebook page is reasonably active. There are a couple of people who post on there. But, like, people have been posting Providence Northern stuff all over YouTube. Can we have an official YouTube channel? That'd be cool. There were multiple groups of people thinking about the same idea. So I said, you know what? The membership committee isn't really doing anything. The person I put in as head of membership committee, I'm not sure he knew he was still head of membership committee. And there was just no movement. There was no one in the committee other than the chairman. And I said, you know what? I'll talk to him and I'll talk to the president and I'll take over membership committee. And then once I do that, I will gather up all these people that are talking about it and make a membership committee meeting, and we'll go from there. We'll make a YouTube channel. And by the way, the ending of this story, which I will tell now, is that we have a Providence Northern YouTube channel as of like yesterday. There's nothing on it yet,
Cool.
but we're getting there. I'm actually going to throw this in the... I'll throw this in the chat, and I will also make sure to mention it during the advertisements later. Providence Northern Model Railroad Club. So, partway through the meeting where I said I'm going to take over the chairmanship of the membership committee, it gets brought up that our current head of the rolling stock committee is indisposed. He's in rehab. He fell. He's an older guy. He's a bigger guy. He's had trouble moving around for a while, and he's been trying to sort of dial back on coming to the club because it's difficult for him. But yeah, he fell. He ended up in the hospital briefly. He's in rehab now, I believe. And I sort of mentioned that despite the fact that we had no official report from the Rolling Stock Committee, one of our junior members has been working on a spreadsheet to catalog all the locomotives on the layout. Because we have an old binder for it, but the binder is years out of date, and we've had issues with people bringing engines that have the same road number as other locomotives in the layout, and then driving engines that are not the ones they want to drive. Because they punch in their locomotive number, and it grabs their engine and some other engine on the other end of the railroad. And they go to run theirs, and the other one takes off too. And that has led to some problems, electrical issues, because those locomotives will run into switches that aren't lined for them and short, and nobody will notice. At any rate, I made mention of this, and one of the other members says, well, since we have no active, because of, the current situation with the Rolling Stock and Operating Committee, we should probably put someone in as the new chairman, and I nominate Ellis. And I went, okay, sure, I'll do that. Why not? I have this spreadsheet that the junior member has sent me, and why not? Yeah, sure. I came here to take over a membership committee, but I guess I'll take over Rolling Stock too. So then I ended up with two things, two chairmanships, and they were reaching the end of the meeting, and it gets brought up that the website is going to go defunct because we didn't pay the bill for the hosting. Our old webmaster now lives in Virginia and is not very, doesn't come to the meetings because he's in Virginia.
Should take the
Small
train.
issue.
Yeah, and I made mention of the fact that, even if we don't want to keep the website, we should keep the domain names, providencenorthern.com and providencenorthern.org. We don't want to lose those because we could direct them to something else. We could direct them to the Facebook page. We could direct them to... And I said, I have a website. I could make us a page on that site. We could direct it to that page. And then we wouldn't have to pay hosting, because I'm already paying for the hosting. And so then I got put in charge of the website committee, too. So I went from having no responsibilities to having lots of responsibilities because I opened my big fat mouth. And you know what? I think this is going to be...
That's how it goes.
Yeah, this is going to be great. It's going to be good.
Let this be a lesson to the kids listening.
Yeah, never
Yeah,
volunteer for anything.
Oh God, you
Or-
did it.
No, I was going to say do volunteer for things.
Yeah.
It's hundreds of people.
This is how this stuff keeps going.
Yeah, no, in seriousness, I am very thankful for the junior members and the other members that came to my membership and website committee meeting this past Saturday, or yesterday, or today, if you go by April 12th. Because we actually have the ball rolling on these things. Like I said, we have a YouTube channel now. The junior members are, stumbling over each other to post onto the YouTube channel. There is going to be more activity in the Facebook page. We might get an Instagram. The website, somebody has volunteered to sort of take a look at the infrastructure of the website and see if they can do something with it. Or, we'll move to something else. Now, we paid for it. We have a year to figure it out. Movement is happening because people spoke up. And, as much as I did just make the joke about never volunteer for anything, model railroad clubs and any other volunteer organization, but model railroad clubs in this case, need that engagement. They need people to want to do the work. And sometimes
Yes.
it means going and asking, hey, how do I do this? I don't know how to wire up a turnout. Can someone show me? That's how it goes. that's how the world goes around. Otherwise, your model railroad club sort of shrivels up and dies.
Yeah. Ours isn't dying. We're just in. We're trying to play in a new HO layout. Oh my god, Ryan, that's fucking peak.
I just sent it to Casey. Hold on, I'm gonna put it up on the screen.
What is it? I'd just like to say two things quickly. One, thank you to God love y'all for being a part of Model Railroad Club. I really couldn't.
Yeah, you could. You could be a part of this one.
Ellis, last time I tried being a part of a Model Railroad Club, they nearly slapped me with a $400 yearly fee.
What?
Just because I had, yeah.
$400
for what?
Yep, and the last. So, y'all want to? Can I quickly steal the spotlight?
Yeah, no, I need to know. Like, I don't care. I need to know.
So what happened is that about a year ago, because I had my beloved car Winston, of which many people who know me personally know that I love Winston, and I don't think Winston loved me. I think he tolerates me.
Okay.
But Winston and I, we have this dynamic duo, and so since I got my car, I joined the local Model Railroad Club here, and I'm gonna be honest, it is not that impressive. It's there's a lot of passion put into it, and I respect that, but it's really, like, it does not reek of... It reeks of something you'd probably see in, like, the basement of a home. And I mean that from, like, an endearing standpoint. Like, there's a lot of, like, DIY feel to it. It's a very cute layout.
Okay.
That being said, though, it also has a lot of operational quirks. And also the club as a whole is one of those clubs where they do like 10 different scales. So they have a G scale room. They have an O scale room. They've got an S scale room, an N scale room, and an HO scale room.
Okay, that's kind of awesome.
I was gonna say that's what we do, except it's like 2 rooms.
Well, the thing is I use room very lightly because basically it's a giant industrial, like, shirt, used to be a former shirt factory.
Awesome.
That somebody's basically put drywall up.
Yeah, that's basically what ours is. It was, I think, multi-scale club. Got it.
Yeah. And so the thing is like, the first year, so I filled out the membership form and I noticed that membership is going to be $100 a year. Like, okay, that's fine, whatever.
That's pretty cheap.
Yeah, exactly. And I go to my first, club meeting, like, oh, a donation's already paid off for your first year. And I'm like, oh, that's great. So I don't, like, school kind of takes hold, so I can't really go as often as I want to. Then I get an email saying, oh, yeah, please turn in because for some reason, they trust this kid that only attended this, like, the second time meeting with keys to the club. Which, like, oh, well. I didn't use them because...
Please turn in your gun and badge, Ryan.
Yeah, no, literally they were like, if you do not want to pay the $400 all-access fee, which, by the way, it really isn't, because you can only go whenever, like, the head honchos are awake, because they have to turn off the alarm system. They don't trust anyone else to turn off the alarm system. So it's not all access, it's all access while they are awake.
Okay.
Or not at work. And so they're like, if you don't want to turn the $400 fee, please come in. So the day before I was supposed to go to the UK, I hopped into my car, drove 30 minutes up there in the pouring rain and the heavy fog, dropped off my keys, and went back home. I understand I'm being a little melodramatic about it. I think $400 is a shit ton of money for, I'm going to be honest, a layout that, one, like, was not all that impressive. 2, was operationally a bit,
You said quirky. The layout does get a little quirky at night.
Well, Ellis, Terminus, Vale, and Anaconda, how you had your yard lead?
Oh, no.
It had that. I might have a photo of this.
I don't mean to... please do.
Yeah, I don't mean to shit on these guys because they're like... It's basically, from what I can tell, because it's in upstate New York, so it's kind of like... you've got a very... You've got a very interesting... Exactly, you've got the steamed hams population. It's a very interesting group of people. Again, I don't mean to shit on them because they're doing their best and they do a lot. Let me see if I can find a photo of this. Hold on.
I don't understand. So what was the $400 for? You said about somebody having the keys. Did they need to like rekey the building and they were charging everyone for new keys?
No, that's the membership cost.
Oh, what?
For-
Okay.
Jeez.
Well, wait. Is that it's $400 a month?
$400 a year.
Oh, a year. Okay, that's still not
That's a lot of
crazy,
money.
but I mean,
Yeah.
well, $400 a year is how much a month? What's $400 divided by 12?
Well,
That's I don't even know where my calculator is on my phone. I can't find it.
It's 34
$33
bucks a month.
34. I mean, that's and plus the $100 membership fee, right? That you already said.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
$500 divided by 12 is about $40 a month. That's higher than the Providence Northern, but that's not that's not super crazy. I mean, I'm not necessarily gonna judge that, but I was hoping there was more intrigue. I'll be honest. I thought you were gonna say like someone got into trouble, they needed to rekey the building, they were charging you a bunch of money. I don't really understand why you need to have access stuff if it's only open when there's already people there that own it. Couldn't they just let you in?
Well, no. The thing is that it's when they're like the building is. By the way, I sent a photo of the yard lead, and I've circled it in red about how tight it is.
Oh, nice.
I want to see that. Oh my god, that's like
Move the trucks for God's sake.
Yeah, no, you're not got anything past like a Bachmann 260 through there if you're lucky.
I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna get the Q2s and I'm gonna send it.
see.
Yeah.
I see the passenger cars back there. How do you get them out unless you go out the other way?
Yeah, you can only go out the other way with those. And also, like, again, I don't mean to shit on this club, but it's like, it's like they were very friendly, they were very kind, but at the same time, like, my quest for finding a club which is organizationally makes sense is within a good proximity to me, and like, I don't feel like a goddamn ghost whenever I show up would be nice.
Well, I'm sorry, I
Um,
can't fix the proximity thing, but we're pretty chill.
Yeah.
Uh,
I appreciate that, Alice.
Uh,
I didn't mean to hijack the story, but
no. Also, I just want to say that yard like we should finish this section, even though we're not doing locomotive versus. I know we want to wrap the like we have a time that we want to end this. I just want to say the fact that you said like letting you can only get out the other end, right? You can only get out the other end. The fact that everything has ballast except for that just screams. People complained that we had a stub-ended yard, so we found a way to get out the other end. That's what it says to me.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the track on the left has ballast and where the switch is does not. It's just there's environmental storytelling here.
Yeah.
Because
I feel like this could be adapted into like a trains route.
I mean, every good model railroad and any model railroad could be adapted into a trains route, I suppose. It wouldn't be bad. Although I feel like doing the different scales would be kind of tricky.
Well, no, it's just like the whole idea of there was once a stub end yard, but then the rail operations complained so much, so they made it a through track yard, but the lead in is like impossibly tight, so they can't run half of anything through there. But I digress.
No, you want to know something? We have one of these on the Providence Northern. We had a stub end yard, and people complained, so they found a way to build tracks out the other end. But no, I'll take that note. I'll do that in Tolbrin somewhere. Anywho, anything else that we want to cover for local service? We've been doing this. We've been chit chatting about it for an hour. Everything's gone on the document. Going once, going twice. And yeah, I'm sorry to neither of our viewers have complained about the lack of locomotive verses. So I think we're okay for the minute. I will bring it back at some point, but it's got to be at a point where it's easier to do the show. Because right now it's been kind of tough to wrangle up 3 people to be my co-hosts. At any rate, the administrative dysfunction of both the Providence Northern Model Railroad Club and the unnamed Model Railroad Club that Ryan was a part of, and also the Iron Horseman itself, apparently pales in comparison to the Wilmington and Western. Boy.
Yes.
Tyler, what
The
is going on
Wilmington
at the Wilmington and
Western.
Western?
A lot of shit is going on. This is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of shit and a lack thereof that is been happening for a while.
What
So
does that mean?
in February, late February, it was noted in the press that the Wilmington and Western was suspending operations for the 2025 season. This was under the note of the equipment itself was in a state of disrepair, effectively.
Okay.
They did not have operational equipment. To clarify as well, Wilmington Western, for those who aren't aware of this operation, they have 2 steam locomotives. They have 060, number 58, which is currently the only one that is technically operational.
Okay.
And you have 440, number 96, I think
98.
it is. 98. That's originally, it's actually from the, once for a few hands, but it famously is from the Louisiana Eastern.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Kaboom!
Kaboom. But they also have a few other things on property. They've got an SW1 in Baltimore, Ohio scheme that's actually always been on this branch line. Ever since it came from EMD, it has always served on this branch line.
So wait, why is it in B&O?
Um,
was the branch line originally B&O?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
I believe
All
so.
right. I was gonna say, like, so they got a locomotive brand new, painted it in someone else's colors, and went, "Yeah, this is nice."
But yeah, so as it stands, 98 is coming out of a overhaul, or maybe we'll see. 58 was having problems last year. The rest of the equipment, supposedly. And so, again, in late February, they say we've made a decision, pause operations, conduct important maintenance, repairs to equipment.
Mhm.
And then it sort of spirals from there.
Oh no.
There is a group that is the concerned volunteers of the WWRR.
Concern. Oh
And-
god.
Tyler, there's a train
So-
on the Uniden.
They came out this was about a week ago now. Wait, actually, what's the train?
It's coming. I saw the gates go down.
Okay, tell me what type it is. But
I mean, this is this will be like the 30th train. They just keep coming.
Screen?
yes, I know.
The 4 cars. I
But
think they might be
so the
houses.
volunteers themselves came out with a letter of demand asking for transparency from the company itself, because it is it is technically a non-profit, but this gets into some weird things of how it is set up right now, and how the company elects its officials is weird. There's not a lot of transparency there.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mhm.
they have come out, they have a thing where, let's see here, what was it? Yeah. If the board itself does not start an investigation within 5 business days, as indicated in the letter, the undersigned reserves the right to initiate legal proceedings in the Chancery Court of Delaware. So, and supposedly they have the funding for this already.
Okay.
We have
What I'm hearing is one of the volunteers has deep pockets.
Either one of the volunteers has deep pockets, or a bunch of volunteers are just fed up and piled their money together.
Or one of them is a lawyer already.
Yes, that could also be the case.
One of them is secretly
Honestly, that would be
Ryan.
Is one of them Saul Goodman?
Maybe. But,
Honestly, it would. This is honestly, out of all of the railroads, I would not have expected it from the Wilmington and Western.
They're pretty
Well,
unassuming.
Yeah.
they're kind of just there, but then you start hearing stuff, and it's like this has sort of been building up for years, to the point that on the 10th, there is a bunch of the volunteers who were out protest,
Okay,
trying to get
cool.
services back and wanting change in the nonprofit itself. There's one of the guys who is an engineer who I was trying to remember where he commutes from. Yeah, from the Baltimore area,
Mm-hmm.
which
That's pretty.
for an operation like this, it is one of those things where it feels like this shouldn't be happening because it is a nonprofit. It's mostly volunteer run. There are a few paid positions which have been being eliminated, partially over the last few years, partially from pandemic, but
Huh.
I don't think. Let's see here. Does this one have it?
But this is something where I don't understand everything that's going on. I've just heard so many people like it's a disaster.
Yeah.
Well, again,
Um,
they're a very unassuming railroad. Like, you wouldn't like. This is the last thing you would expect from. Like, this is something I. Honestly, this feels like something you'd more see coming out of Strasbourg, like, but of like a much different magnitude.
Strasbourg, like the stakes are high enough for big problems to happen. This is the kind of catastrophe you'd expect to hear out of the Cumbres and Toltec.
yeah, this is something you would hear out of the cat. But like, just this was. Where
the
was
railroad
it?
has fired
Yeah,
3 of its
they-
full-time employees: general manager, volunteer
Exactly.
program manager, and accounting manager, but has not informed members of that move.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is, can you believe it, guys? Tax fraud, accounting fraud, just a week away.
Listen,
That's-
when you
that's
when
the
you
thing is-
fire your accountant, yikes.
Yeah. Wait,
There's
hold on.
concern because, to give some backstory, this is I think it's the Railway Preservation News. Has a great long read of discussion board
That's
on this.
wild.
And as far as public information, people are aware. The two main head honchos of the Wilmington and Western are supposedly, supposedly they are big speeder enthusiasts.
Okay.
They don't care as much for running the trains. They also own construction companies.
Okay.
That's where the money comes from, I bet.
There's been a lot of construction and rebuilding of the Wilmington and Western in the last decade.
Mm-hmm. So
And
so
this
you're
is
saying
also around the same time as the bylaws were changed and the board became more centralized. So there's some sketch things.
so you're saying that there's a chance that the railroad was taken over as with the intention of funneling money to the construction companies.
There is legitimate potential there. Again, nothing's been proven. Innocent until proven guilty. But there is sketch stuff. There is not a lot of transparency, and it looks like there's going to be a court battle.
Yeah, this is. I mean,
So-
I can't wait for the outcome of the court battle to try to understand what all is going on behind the scenes here. And yeah, do not take my word for it. That is a conspiracy theory that I just made up. But wouldn't that be nuts? It's,
Yeah.
construction
there's
companies,
also
public
stuff
money,
where-
board behind closed doors. It's like the perfect storm. I think that's what's happening? No, probably not. It's never that exciting. But
There is just a lot of sketch. The other thing that's kind of weird is on the point of volunteers, right? Because again, they fired 3 employees. Their only employee they have listed now is the roadmaster.
mhm,
That is the only paid staff they have now.
just the roadmaster
So
of
you
the
think-
construction company.
I have no idea. I don't know who specifically holds that role right now. But the with the volunteers, right? You have to have work sessions. You have to actually work on the equipment. And supposedly there were cases where volunteers showed up ready for a work session and they were shooed away from the property. And it's like you wonder why this operation does not have working equipment to run the operating season with. When supposedly the volunteers have been shooed away from actually working on the equipment. It's like
Yeah, no, that's
So-
never good. That's never good. Hey, we've come full circle. Turns out you need volunteers for these things. Volunteers
Yes.
and volunteer hours are a precious resource, and you shouldn't just run them out of town.
And the other thing as well is be active in these things. Like there's a joke that I keep on seeing. It's a bunch of this one dude joins into a business, and he hears about there's this union and there's just a small group of guys that runs the whole thing, and they make decisions for all of us, and we hate it. And we hate it. And he just he goes to the union meeting because it's publicly available knowledge. They send out a newsletter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just 10 guys just sitting there that just showed up and are just like, oh, hey, we got a new person. Yeah.
Yeah, and this
You wanna
happens.
roll?
This happens at the Providence Northern too. There are people, and I am like trying to keep an eye on this developing situation. There are some members that are mad about the conclusion we've reached with regard to well, maybe mad is overselling it, but they are displeased with what we're doing with the YouTube channel, and that sucks. You should have come to the meeting
Thing yet.
and like discussed it with us. That would have been good to get your input. And then the committee meeting that happened 4 days after the business meeting, if you had come to that and discussed it, that also would have been helpful. But now and yeah, it comes to every volunteer organizations, unions, anything like that. Like, if you want a say in what's going on, you got to go to the meeting and talk and open your mouth and vote and contribute. The decisions that get made by the leadership of whatever organization is in question here don't just come out of a magic 8-ball. People talk about them. Sorry, end rant.
The one thing with this though is it does feel like they have sequestered the board and everything else to make it as close to a magic 8-ball as possible.
Oh yeah, well I mean,
Which is
if you
what
do it on
happened.
purpose, that's a different story.
Yes. Your lovely everybody's favorite mayor.
Listen.
Mayor Quimby?
No, Buddy Cianci. We saw. Speaking of which, this is not sponsored, but the Secret Mall Apartment movie is apparently in theaters nationwide right now, or will be, or has just been. Look it up. Secret Mall Apartment. About the time that 8 artists from RISD made a secret apartment inside the Providence Place Mall and lived there for 4 years. There's a scene with Buddy Cianci in it when they talk about the original construction of the mall, and every time I've been here, I've watched the movie 3 times. My mom was there all 3 times. When Buddy was on screen, she cheered. And sometimes other people joined. It's using the powers.
Was he really that good of a mayor?
He did great things. He was also hilariously corrupt. It's just one of those weird crossroads of using the powers.
What's his name?
Buddy Cianci. Using the powers of corruption and mob ties for good. For the benefit. And then he went to jail on federal racketeering charges.
Poor guy. Cianci spelled Cianci.
Yes. He also has a
this is the
pasta
most
sauce
Italian
that you can
American
buy
name.
in stores here.
Oh, good. Okay.
I forgot about that.
The boss's
Wait.
sauce.
So question. Wait. So
Get
what's
lost
the
in the
big hook
sauce.
about this guy? This guy sounds great.
Yeah. I wish I could explain more. But he was
Okay,
a
extortion
character.
might not be a good thing.
He was a character. Well, yeah, I mean the extortion, the like beating someone within an inch of their life because he thought that person was sleeping with his wife. That's how he got kicked out of the mayorship the first time. The second time was when he went to jail on federal racketeering charges. And then he did run for mayor again after he got out of federal prison. He did not win that time. But it wasn't for lack of trying.
The anti-corruption candidate. Oh, I love this.
Oh,
man.
yeah,
He's
no.
awesome.
It's like the face of irony. That's Buddy Cianci. You can look him up. He's got a book called Politics and Pasta.
This guy sounds awesome. What the hell?
He's pretty awesome. Anyway, so
Just-
can we
just
talk
don't be
about
seen near his wife.
can we talk about a less dysfunctional volunteer organization?
Yeah, let's talk
We
about a
could.
functional railroad.
Yeah, Jader, how are things over at the East Broad Top? Something that you're not
Hey.
affiliated with, but I say it like you are.
I wish. They are fantastic. As of what's the date on this? As of April 7th, ground was broken on the Saltillo station.
Nice.
They're building a new. They have, I believe it's fully funded and everything. They're building a replica of the original Saltillo station. I forget which article it was that I read, but they're changing a few. Yeah. It's the front. It's the one on the EBT Foundation. I think they're changing a couple things to make it suit modern needs just a little bit more than the original.
Okay.
But otherwise, it's going to be, pretty similar to the original depot.
I have a question.
I might have an answer.
Is that really how that's pronounced?
I think so. I watched a video, and some guy that I think grew up there was pronouncing it that way.
Oh God. Okay. All right. Cool.
Ellis, you sound distraught.
I feel like it shouldn't be pronounced that way. Like it looks
Well, how do you-
Spanish. It looks Spanish. Like I want to pronounce it like Saltillo or something. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, but it's Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's their fault. Okay, is what I'm saying.
It should
I was
be,
gonna
it should
say
be
it's,
true line,
I
true
feel-
line.
I feel like it's far enough south in Pennsylvania. I don't know how Pennsylvania works, but I feel like it's like Saltillo
Does anyone?
or something.
It's far enough south.
Being
It's
fair-
close to the Mexican border.
Actually, guys, how do I know that Pennsylvania's real?
I don't think we do.
We don't.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's a construct.
I think Pennsylvania is a figment of imagination created by sheets.
I
You know what I
because-
think?
Yeah.
You know
It's-
that city in the
it's-
Matrix?
Yeah.
That's in Pennsylvania. That's what that is.
I'm pretty sure the Pennsylvania Railroad is just sort of born out of the nightmares of the New York Central. So yeah, that doesn't really give credence to anything.
It just like appeared one day.
Yeah, it's like Herobrine.
Yeah.
It's weird
It
how
was
at
removed.
the end of every single constitutional amendment it says "removed Pennsylvania."
Yeah, from Terminus, you know, just
And I believe that
Because-
Carthage should be destroyed.
Yeah, Carthago Delanda Est.
I was gonna say the land that
Yeah.
is Pennsylvania, it's split evenly between Ohio and Connecticut.
That's a fate worse than death.
dear lord.
Yes.
So like, which half is the top half Connecticut?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
No,
like,
no,
like
95%
Casey's
of
in
it goes
Greater
to Ohio.
Connecticut.
Hold on, I'm
What?
trying to find a map of the original borders of Connecticut. Yeah, here we go.
Oh God.
Hold on, I
Didn't it
got
just go,
this. Why is
Didn't
this?
it just go like as far west as they wanted?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it went. It went. Hold on, I have it. I found it. I just don't have a way to drag it onto the screen. There we go.
Yeah,
God.
yeah, that's right. Fun fact. I learned this. I think a couple weeks ago. It's either Western Reserve University or Case Western. I forget. It's a university near Cleveland is named for the Connecticut Western Reserve.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
So they
Cleveland is just Greater Connecticut.
That's
So they seriously just went full west.
yeah. They just I like how there's a gap for New York, but not a
Well,
gap
they
for
couldn't claim
Pennsylvania.
that.
Yeah, like New York and New Amsterdam were already established, so Connecticut was just like, yeah, okay, we'll skip over that and just keep going west. I also like how Pennsylvania is like a weirdly shaped blob, and New York goes all the way down to West Virginia or Virginia.
You know,
I guess.
this map implies that Pennsylvania would be cut into two. You'd have southern and northern
Yeah,
Pennsylvania.
you'd have the little blob of Pennsylvania up on the north side.
The cat can have a little Pennsylvania as a treat.
Also, why is the only river that's marked out here the Connecticut River? Like,
Because Connecticut's the only state that matters.
Because it's Connecticut.
I hate all of those answers.
What
Anywho,
about the canal?
Because
I love you
Connecticut
too,
exists.
Ellis.
I really would like to go back to the East Broadtop for something other than handing a trading card to the general manager and saying, you should make these. Because, you
An
know,
EBT
they do
pack would be
stuff.
fun.
I would love to do an EBT trip.
I will say I am probably going to the EBT this summer, so I can give y'all a report.
I would
On a-
really appreciate that. Would be great.
Actually, Ellis, if you want, I can be your official envoy.
You can do that
for
if you want.
trading card.
I already was my official envoy, but if you want to rep them more, like, be my guest. And anyone out there that wants, check us out, theironhorseman.com. We're working on trading cards. Well, we have some, but we're working on even more. And the next batch is going to be on the high store probably, but the next like 2 batches we're going to make it probably pretty quick succession, I think, because I'm low on inventory. Good problem to have. So yeah, Ryan, if you wouldn't mind just like taping a cell phone to a pole and just sort of FaceTiming me and carrying me around for the entire time you're there, that'd be great.
I can do that. I would love to. I mean, honestly, my plan is that I'm going to use my totally hip YouTube fame that I've garnered over the years, me and my 86 views on my most recent video, and I'm going to yell at them, "Do you know who I am?"
I'm the man
I'm
who's
sure
going to
they
burn your
will be-
house down with the lemons.
Listen, I am sure they're going to be very receptive, and if they don't make the trading cards, then I'm going to force them to make the trading cards. Okay.
Okay. We're not threatening
see?
anyone.
Yes, we are.
No?
Yeah,
Let's hear about Mount Rainier.
Howard.
I guess we aren't going to hear about Mount Rainier. Bender is dead.
Thunder.
Oh, sorry. Oopsie. I totally checked out there for like a hot second. I
Are
was
you
reading
okay?
the, like,
Just like found a
I
really
was
interesting
reading
spot
the
on
like
the wall.
rail discussion and horseman discussion, like getting myself ready for this, and I didn't hear anything about Mount Rainier. Good thing I got myself some keynotes before this.
Go on.
Okay. Let's go from left to right, shall we? First article here. This one. So this is an old picture. Hammond Lumber Company 17. I'm pretty sure it's not in service.
Darn, because
But-
it looks neat.
It does look pretty neat, but they're kind of stretched thin.
The Mikado tank in Railroader, terrible. The Mikado tank in real life, wonderful.
Amazing. So this, they've recently been working on restoring a section of track that hasn't been used in God knows how long. And
Restoring the main line.
Meanwhile,
This year-
EBT, but Mount Rainier.
as it implies here, on February 15th, which is, a couple months ago at this point, it reopened, and at least I'm pretty sure as of this month, its full extent to where they restored the track to, not like the actual whole thing, because it's been closed for, like God knows how long,
Yeah.
has been restored. So they now have more track to run on than I believe was previously somewhere between 10 and 15 miles.
Yeah.
So that's nice. They have a little bit more to run the 70 on. Numero dos. This one has a cat.
Okay.
Very important.
Oh, I didn't show the photo with Jader's cat.
Oh,
Yeah.
From earlier. Yeah, no, we get a roll. If we're talking about cats, I have multiple cat pictures from the course of this episode
Yes.
that have not been shown. So yeah, what's up with the cat?
Just chilling, you know, to shop cats.
Okay,
The caption here is supervision.
okay, awesome.
A striped one. They got a black one sitting over there on the chair, just hanging out.
You have George S. Catton and General Montgomery.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, well, the Operation General Montgomery plan, it did not end well. Let's just say there was a boiler explosion involved.
Yeah, they did not successfully take over the social media program, sadly.
Douglas
There's
McCath
even another
leaves
cat.
behind a sea of irradiated litter.
The last picture is the cat signing a document. Beautiful.
The war bond.
Signing the declaration. Yeah, it is an actual war bond.
Yep.
Who would?
So,
Okay, but who would the Mount Rainier Scenic declare war on?
Well,
wasn't there like a group trying to like turn them into a trail or something?
Maybe.
Maybe I remember there being was the Mount Rainier Scenic the one that had the fight with like the church over a passing siding?
Quite possibly.
I remember that being a thing
I'm
like
not sure.
4 years ago. But again, the Mount Rainier Scenic is one of those railroads that, like, reports of its death were greatly, overstated.
Exaggerated.
It's
Yeah.
actually kind of
Well-
impressive how, like, we have two railroads that we're talking about back to back that both were dead for a while and now are back.
I believe
Yeah.
the only one they might have beef with is like the Chehalis Centralia, which is the other Milwaukee-centric one. And I think they did have something going on together, and then they just like canceled on each other. I think. Don't take that straight out of my mouth. Anyway,
I haven't heard of anything on that front.
We need one of
That was
those
like a year or two
anime-style
ago.
relationship charts, but it's for railroads.
please.
Uh,
So
Well, Mount
Mount Rainier
Rainier
Scenic.
was taken over by the EDT during the whole cat war.
God help us all.
And then here's the photo of
so-
Venkman also monitoring the podcast being made as of like 2 minutes ago.
My goodness.
He's perfectly round.
So, so the Mount Rainier Scenic, they have actually quite a number of locomotives on their railroad, and a couple diesels run, and so on and so forth. They have a lot of cars. It's actually a very popular railway because it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, even though it's still connected technically to the main network. It's ex-Milwaukee branch line in southern Washington. But it's a logging museum, so they have a lot of stuff. Recently, they've decided to restore one of the locomotives that they first ran on this railway, which is, well, they call it the Big Porter. It's Porter number 5, or whatever the hell it was. MRSR number 5, which is, Mount Rainier Scenic Railroad 5. The Boss Porter. As you can see in this one, they have been taking off the yummy asbestos out of the...
delicious.
That stuff's really good for you. They're taking that
Well,
out of
it's
the
not asbestos. It's
Uh,
actually. Does anyone want to guess what it is?
Oh, right.
Is it worse than
see
asbestos?
now.
It's household insulation.
Household insulation.
Wait, what?
What?
No!
Yeah,
like the
they could be raising out of the
fiberglass
house.
shit.
Just, like from Home Depot?
Yeah,
Probably.
that's what they did back. when
Did
it
they
was-
get this engine from the White Pass?
There's a reason they have not been running it in, like 30 years.
Well, there's
well, I mean,
there's
actually-
several reasons, and they're fixing them and figuring
Yeah.
out how much of it is myth and how much of it is fuck you.
Let's just
lucky.
say at one point, I'm pretty sure at one point the Mount Rainier Scenic was kind of getting Wilmington Western. Perhaps.
Well, no,
Not
it
on
was-
like a dire scale, but it was like, it's not like that bad, but it was.
Mount Rainier
definitely
was
a falling
was at American Heritage Railways for the longest time.
I do
which are the same
believe, yeah,
people as
they-
DNS.
Where
Around
was it really?
COVID, they kind of sold it off.
Yeah, it was owned by the
That
same
sounds
people
right.
as the DNS and the Great Smoky Mountains, and then this was
Yeah.
the casualty of COVID.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, this is
okay,
the one they
right.
got
This
rid
was
of.
their dark horse property. Like, the
yeah,
worst
this is
of
the one
three.
that's like we have to sacrifice one. Which one do we do? Well, we don't sacrifice Silverton because Silverton.
Silverton.
And like the Great Smoky is doing pretty well. Okay, bye bye Washington.
Goodbye.
Yeah, imagine in the alternate timeline where they sold off the Great Smoky Mountains Railroad and then it was purchased by the railroader devs.
That'd be fantastic.
No, it gets purchased by TVRM.
Work ahead. I sure hope it does.
What the heck?
I think I mean, to be fair, it would be so incredibly based if it would be bought by the TVRM.
It would be hilarious.
It's not even in Tennessee.
I mean,
or along
yeah,
the Tennessee
but like,
River.
Yeah, I refer you
yeah.
back to the photo of the Connecticut borders.
Yeah, just long Tennessee.
Nothing needs
which,
to make
you know,
any sense.
Western
need more
North
Tennessee.
Carolina is
Sorry,
become
Dean.
Tennessee now.
East Tennessee.
So
and
they're
Western
also-
Carolina.
They're doing the ultrasonic. Very cool. As I said, they are working on getting it done. It will be done eventually, and they will run it, which would be awesome. Very cool.
It's gonna be great to see when that thing gets to run on the main line.
It is, it's a porter. They're gonna run it. It has Washers valve gear, which I'm sure they will really like to use.
Okay.
Well, they run, this thing is probably a few years newer, at least. That'll probably be nice.
You know what else is gonna run on the main line, though?
The Avalia?
The new Acellas, yeah, the Avalias. I'm so excited
no.
that we're finally getting these things will finally be allowed to leave the yard at 30th Street where they have lived for the last like 5 years, and also
Ellis?
scattered around the Northeast Corridor because they ran out of space for them at 30th Street. Yes, Ryan.
Listen, I know we've had our disagreements. These are not Acellas.
I
Do not besmirch the good name of Acela on these things.
wait. What disagreement? I'm the one who refuses to not call them Avalias.
Okay, good. Never mind.
Yeah, no.
Never mind.
I mean, first of all, I don't know if I agree with your fervor there, but again, this is the Ryan Pops Off episode. And they are goofy. Like, there's plenty goofy about them. But these are the new high-speed trains, and I'm gonna be. It's cool to have like a little change of pace, I guess. I am going to make an excuse to go and ride these as soon as I can, which is gonna be like next month, I guess, right? So
does this? So what I'm hearing is that we need to somehow find a way to do a horseman trip, like an impromptu horseman trip to take the last Acela.
I mean, that also is possible. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. This detour, this like takes a hard right turn into a different topic, which is the fact that Amtrak is out of everything.
Small issue, minor
Yeah,
skill
minor issue. The horizons are all disintegrating, apparently.
Yippee! Material sciences.
Yeah, so to be less dramatic, the 70-car Horizon fleet that Amtrak had that were mostly up in the Pacific Northwest doing cascades, they all got pulled because of some corrosion, additional corrosion in areas normally not visible that inspectors found, and there was as a result, there are some structural deficiencies in some or perhaps most of these cars. They operated extensively in areas with salt and snow and freeze-thaw cycles. Like a lot of the stuff in the Pacific Northwest doesn't really have to deal with that as much, but in the Midwest, where a good portion of the horizons were, that is very much a factor. These cars are, like 1989 era cars, which means they're not the oldest things around, but they're not new by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, they're.
May I?
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, you know a
Well,
lot more about passenger cars than I do. So if you want to jump in.
So these cars are really like the last. these are like the great grandchildren of Amtrak's original nightmare, which was Pullman standard equipment. Because the original idea
I think I know
behind
this one.
the original idea behind Pullman standard cars was they were made with a little something called Core 10 steel, which was that essentially they were going to, as they would corrode, they would strengthen. Don't ask me the science about it. I'm not a STEM major. But the thing is, it just didn't really work, especially considering the fact that if you had like that faux streamlining on it that made it look like it was a Bud car, but it actually wasn't, water would get trapped behind the stapled-on streamlining in the actual car body and like rust away.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what we're seeing here is like the last remnants of that kind of design philosophy. So much so that it's apparently rumored that roofs and floors started to give way as they were taking the cars off of the trucks.
Oh, that's bad.
Yeah. Amtrak and other company, Siemens or Alice, whoever the fuck built them. The ghost of Pullman Standard. You've heard of the Ghost of '06. Now get ready for the Ghost of Pullman Standard. Basically, it's them coming back to haunt Amtrak because this was the exact same problem that they were having 50 years ago.
And this, as a consequence, has left Amtrak with a, Amtrak has been dealing with a shortage of superliners, bi-levels, for quite some time. But generally the single-level fleet has been fairly okay. This has thrown all of that out the window, and now the single-level fleet is pretty much depleted as well. So they had to pull all 70 of these cars from service. In their place, they did buses on the Cascades for a little bit, and then they dragged a whole bunch of Amfleet 1s out of storage and sent them across the country. They could...
seeing the Empire... Oh, continue, sorry.
Yeah, seeing the Empire Builder with a bunch of Amfleets stacked on the front.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, so they pulled all these Amfleet 1s out of storage, because Bud don't break. And, they're out there doing their thing now. And so when you say the last Acela, and I know that the on-paper plan for the Acelas has been to decommission them after the Avelias come into service, because the Acelas are also getting up there in the years. They're past the end of their anticipated lifespan. They don't make parts for them anymore, so they're cannibalizing some to keep the others in service. And they also are super power hungry. Like, they're not efficient as far as electric engines go. Which is to say, they're pretty damn efficient, but they're just not super efficient. I think...
They consume too many electrons.
I don't think that we're going to see the Acelas go anywhere anytime soon. Because Amtrak is going to need them for whatever the hell they decide to do. Because... the only place, if they're putting all the Avelias into service, suddenly they have extra express capacity. What can they do with that? I don't know. Maybe make some of the Acelas run local? And pull some Amfleets off of the corridor to send somewhere else? This is me speculating, but...
Or, they could do the power move and convert all of the Acela passenger equipment to run as normal conventional cars. Just
Oh God!
giggles of it.
That would look so funny.
Amtrak has the opportunity right now. Come on,
to do the
They've gotta
funniest
do
thing.
this.
Yeah.
This thing. Yeah, come on, Amtrak, make it happen.
I can't wait to see what is it? They made like a HHP8 cab car recently, didn't they?
We'll make our own Talgos at home.
HHP8 cab car with Acela coaches.
Oh
No.
I cannot stand the HHP8 cab cars. They look so ridiculous.
Look how
They're
they
hard.
massacred my boy, even though they were garbage.
Yeah, I mean there's a reason we've never seen them in service. I'm pretty sure the place that I saw HHP8s the most, aside from like a deadline in New Jersey, is Microsoft Train Simulator.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, Anyway, I'm excited for the Avelias. I think they're going to go faster in some areas of like New Jersey. Don't quote me on that. But I think they can
Everything's
get up.
legal in New Jersey.
Yeah, I think they can get up to like 165 officially, which is better than the 150 that the Acellas do. It's going to be really interesting to see if there are any schedule changes with them, and it's going to be interesting to see if Amtrak does take the opportunity to do some funny stuff with scheduling to reallocate some things off of the corridor. Will they do that? I don't know, but I don't think the Acellas are going anywhere because of the corner that Amtrak is backed into equipment-wise. Anywho,
This is why I love following Amtrak. They're the funniest.
oh, it's
We just need Bud 2.
Bud 2, yeah, it's you know, it's always a new story, isn't that right, Ryan?
Well, every good story has a plot, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Speaking of equipment, what has Athern been working on?
Yeah. So, all right, we're changing gears rapidly here, from talking about the big stuff to the little stuff, because let's face it, a majority of us here are model railroaders. And I'm going to be honest, there's nothing really particularly interesting that stuck out to me in these updates. I realize that when choosing the stories, I probably could have chosen something more interesting to talk about. Except, friends, we have a discussion that we need to hash out right now. What are our thoughts on fantasy schemes?
Some of them fuck, some of them don't.
Wait, why?
Don't let
Why?
Ryan
What
know.
is
Try to cook.
what is Athern doing?
Well, it's not okay. So, Athern. Let's back this up for a moment, because Athern, our friends. It might have been in this run. It might have been in another run in like February, but let me just investigate. Was it this run? Hold on. Oh god damn it! I conflated it. No, but
How could you?
what they're doing. I'm sorry. Okay, but I'll just take this time to talk about Athern's 2025 releases in general more than what's shown on the links.
Okay.
Because the links kind of don't show anything interesting. They just show a new run of Lights and Sound Caboose, which the verdict is still out on. Like, do we really need lights and sound? Like, lights maybe. Sounds? Really? Really need sounds in our Caboose?
You know what
No,
I love?
yeah, for the
You know what I
Black
love? I love the stock cars with sounds.
Oh my god.
But what we're really here to talk about, friends, is the fact of the matter is that okay, let me find it. Hold on, give me a second. Because what really caught my eye, because I thought this article was something different. I'm sorry, I realized that I'm wrecking the perfectly
How
placed
could
thing, which is
you?
known as- I'm sorry, Alice. Please.
I
don't
was really ready to meme about fantasy schemes. I was
yeah,
like,
no, but no, we're still on that topic.
oh, we're gonna come back to that.
because-
Okay.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Hold on. Here's the thing. Let me find what it is. No.
I found the one
So
with
do
the
we know-
GP49s.
Yes, that's it. The Athern GP49s. That is what I was trying to mention. Friends.
Does anyone have like
Why-
a picture of
look,
what the fantasy
I do.
schemes
Here's the link. Here's
1983.
the link to the PDF. I've put it in the discussion. Not the discussion. I put it in my thing.
are? Okay.
So
Oh God.
there we go. The GP49s. This is what I really wanted to get to hone into. All of these sans 1 are fantasy schemes.
What is the one?
Norfolk Southern.
Alaska Railroad. Oh.
No, they're not doing the Alaska Railroad. No, you would think. No. They're too good for the Alaska Railroad. No, you can get your kind of bad semi-Susquehanna US 250th anniversary. What's it called? The semi-Susquehannial. What is it?
I have no idea. Sesquicentennial?
Yes,
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
Cupcake in a cup.
So you can get that one. They're doing a custom caboose for that as well. They're doing a Boston and Maine one. They're doing National Railway de Mexico. God bless. They're doing
High hood.
Norfolk Southern, and then they're doing Executive Norfolk Southern.
I just want to say the B&M scheme they picked is the most boring B&M scheme. Like, it's not. I don't think it's the
It's
worst,
nostalgic.
but
Shut
it's so
up.
boring. I mean, I don't hate it either, but it's so boring.
I appreciate it, but at the same time, like the NS ones
NSTS.
weren't even like GP49s. They were they make this and then they do something with it that nobody wanted, and that was the end of the discussion. And it's like if they
Yeah.
made, if they took a C62 and put it in like, that just became a New York Central Hudson. Like that was the entire thing.
Oh God. You
Now,
know,
might I also just mention that? Oh, sorry. Go on, Tyler.
I was gonna say there's one thing specifically. There is one time Lionel cooked, and then they shouldn't have been allowed to do anything else. This
Oh,
is the only fictional I will accept.
now this fucks.
Oh God!
Yes.
Didn't this come up
Okay,
in March
yeah.
Madness?
Yeah, it did.
Ah.
I
Like I said, there are
I
some that
kinda
fuck
like
and
that.
some don't.
This is amazing. I
See,
wish this
not
happened.
just give it like the skirting under the running board.
Yeah, it needs skirts. It needs
Oh
like
yeah.
I don't know if you could
Yeah.
do skirts with it articulated.
Yeah, you could.
Not with that attitude.
Okay.
you could do it on the
No,
rear driver set.
no, you could because the boiler is all one thing.
Yeah, but the
Just go.
You would have to
wheels.
have. No, you have the
Make the-
skirting for the front truck, for the front section. Be
Yeah,
it
you make that
next to the
independent.
front section. And then you have it running. The running board, like the only thing that'd be a little bit hard is the steam delivery pipe. You'd have to have it like dip up to accept that, and then it just dips straight down, covers the cylinders for the second set cross.
Okay, what we need to do is we need to go back in time, track down Raymond Loewy,
Well, I got to
and
Yes.
tell
jump
him
that
and ask him. Okay, how would you streamline this?
Oh God!
And
So-
give him like $5, which in those days was a year's salary.
Listen, I'm just saying, the hubris of Athearn, not the hubris, that's a bad word to say, because Athearn, they do legitimately some nice stuff. Just for reference as well, if we think the GP49 is a weird prototype, they made the Union Pacific specific SD59M-2. And those came out a couple years ago, and Train World is still trying to move them. There's 24 left in stock.
Wow, are they like how? What's the markdown?
So right now, DCC Sound, original price $327. You can get them for $219. Which is still way
Yeah.
too much, but like, what? At SD50, you too can model the General Chungusin Western with your SD59M-2s and your GP49s.
This is why
My
I love
favorite.
N-Scale.
So yeah, Athearn is having a whale of a time. I'm honestly, truth be told, like, my philosophy with model trains is that if I can find, like, I want to model something that is specific and prototype accurate, but I don't have the patience to do that. So if I just find one of these for cheap, and it's one of the fictional ones, I'm gonna get it. So why not?
Mm-hmm. My philosophy
and
for model
preferably-
rares is like get whatever, I don't care.
Preferably the Bicentennial one, because it's just so disappointing. Like, look at it.
Damn.
It looks like a tube of toothpaste. Like,
Yeah,
out of all of the
it is.
Bicentennials schemes out there, there are some legitimately cool ones too. Like, I don't know, the ICG one that's an eagle, or the Grand Trunk one, which is also an eagle, or like the Conrail one, which is supposed to be the U.S. flag, and then there's this Aqua Fresh looking guy.
I hate how right you are about the tube of toothpaste thing. You said that, and I just like my mouth hung open and it has not closed. It is absolutely a tube of toothpaste. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Why
It
does
even
this
has,
locomotive
the
smell
Aquafresh
minty?
Swish. Yeah, it even has the Aquafresh like swish.
God damn.
Great.
Yeah, it should just put Colgate on the side.
Honestly, I'm pretty sure that if you got I'm pretty sure if you bought one of these, waited like a year or two, then put Colgate on the side, made a matching caboose, you could flip it. There'd be if you really want to gaslight some boomers and believing this was like a one-off thing that Athearn did, you could probably sell it for around $1,000 if you really wanted to. It's unethical. Don't get me wrong, and I don't encourage it, but you could.
I mean, yeah, I'd do it for the meme.
Yeah, fair.
Boomer
They're also
money.
doing. One thing I will point out is that, actually, it's quite topical to our announcement, to the original post, because they're doing a, what is it? Hold on, ICC caboose. Here we go. They are doing a lights and sounds caboose with it as well. Which is I will send a photo in the text. Which, if you want a caboose to go with your toothpaste, here you go. I do not think these are going to sell well, so I'm probably just gonna wait and get it on mega discount, which I did with my other.
Oh
caboose.
my
So,
god! It
yeah.
even has the little. Oh my god!
Yeah, the switch. Yeah, the switch.
Oh my god! Yeah, that's what you should put on your toothpaste, on your toothbrush,
God.
folks. That's
Yeah. So, I mean, honestly,
So that's what I'm gonna do after this pod.
yeah.
Go
like-
brush my teeth.
So I feel like on like a more serious level, like I'm kind of like Athearn, buddy, pal, chum. Like, come on, what happened to the guys? Like, what happened to the guys that made like the I don't know. Athearn's cooked before, I know. What happened to the guys who made all of those fictional like caboose popcorn stands that they had them do just a year ago? Why couldn't they put them on this project?
This
They
is
didn't.
this is
Now-
wonderful.
I feel like
Yeah.
Horizon Hobby just said no, you can't do anything.
I love how
You
like
can do one fun thing and that's it.
I
and
It
want
that's
isn't
the
even
suck.
that fun. It's the Toothpaste Express.
That's the
Well, listen. There is nothing to be down on about dental hygiene. But more importantly, how did they decide these roads? Like what?
Oh yeah,
don't
but the
know.
fantasy schemes.
Yeah, what?
I don't know.
What made them do B&M and two kinds of Norfolk Southern and what was the other? Is just the 250th? Oh, and NAM. NAM.
Yeah,
Like
Dios
why?
mío.
Why these?
I don't know.
Why pick like the NAM scheme is kind of nice, but otherwise they're so boring.
Ellis, if we figure out the answer to that, we'd have the answer to the cure of cancer. One thing I should also note is that they are doing so for those who like. Anyone here like hopper cars?
Oh no.
Maybe.
Yeah.
What
One
about
thing that they
bopper
are
cars?
doing, which is actually kind of sick, which I will give Athearn credit for, is that they are doing a set. This was announced also in 2025 of Athearn of Genesis. I think these might be Genesis. Genesis SPSF hoppers.
Okay. I mean, I'm here for anything SPSF, honestly.
Yeah. Let's see. They're also, unfortunately, I think they're doing a run of GP50s as well. So they're doing the GP49 and the GP50. Oh.
Oh.
There's only 2 fantasy schemes, and they're not even that cool.
Oh no.
Oh.
We made the
They're
hopper
doing
red.
They're doing for the GP50s, not to be confused with the GP49. God, I feel like the know-it-all kid from Polar Express. I mean, I don't even know what the difference between the two are. I don't really care either way. But,
See, if only O'Gillies was on this episode. Actually, I need to go back to the entire beginning because I had a small bone to pick that I completely forgot about, which is last episode. O'Gillies was like, "No, I don't want to be on this episode because I want to be on the next episode," and then he was on that one, and then he wasn't on this one. So
Ojola's being Ojola.
yeah, I don't know what gives. I figured because he was going to like the train show and also going to hang out with you and stuff. It would have been a great episode for him to be on, and with all this like super diesel minutia, like he's the only person that I would trust to answer these questions. Anywho, carry on, Ryan.
Yeah, so the GP was the GP50s. There's nothing fun. All like it's they're doing a Frisco scheme and they're doing a Chessie scheme. Those are not whimsical enough. No. Those are not whimsical enough.
But
Why?
Chessie's pretty whimsical.
No, because Chessie ordered the SD50, which was like kind of like the GP50 because they both have 50 in the title.
Okay, sure. I mean,
I'm
yeah,
sorry,
but like, I don't. What? How does that make it? How does that make it not whimsical?
Ellis, my dear friend Ellis. I must take you to the land of the giant boot to educate you on whimsicalities. For there is nuance, and there is a disturbance in the force of whimsicality that I will have to rectify.
Is that a threat?
No.
Yes.
It's a promise.
We can take Laffy too. Laffy will love it. By the way, one more thing, and I know nobody here cares, but I'm committed to the bit. They also announced GP39s.
Mm-hmm.
And the only fantasy scheme that they're doing there is Rio Grande, which no comment. Anyways,
I mean, okay, is it flying Rio Grande though? Because everything looks great in that. That's fine.
it is flying Rio Grande, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's hot. Anyway, that's the podcast.
We need like the Wii Sports music, like once you're like done like a game of like Wii Sports baseball.
Anywho, does anyone have any advertisements before we go?
I do.
Okay.
Hi. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Ryan. You might know me as 2020. Alex, can I plug my channel?
Yeah, that's literally why we have this section.
Yeah. Okay, where do I put it?
I don't know. Put it in the chat, and then I'll put it in the Cargos document with everything else.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Ryan. I'm a YouTuber. I need to make a return on my videos one way or another, or else I will feel unjustified. So subscribe to my YouTube channel and watch as I make a beverage with Nickel Plate Road 759.
Okay. By return, you don't mean make money, because that's not going to happen.
No, Ellis. There's a difference between making a profit and making a return.
Okay. Well, you're the business major.
And people hate me for it, and I'm committing to the bit.
Okay.
You sound disappointed.
No, I'm disappointed because I can't find the Providence Northern Model Railroad Club channel, even though I just was on it, because I'm trying to put it in the Cargos. Give me a second. That's why I'm disappointed. I am being frustrated.
Oddly, I got a for my drink mixing tutorial. I got a review from Christopher Kovac saying, "quote oddly satisfying." So I'm gonna put that on my resume now.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. So there's that, and then 2026 Productions. That link's also going to be in the Cargos. And at some point, I will reorganize the Cargos. Today, I was meaning to do that, and then instead, I played some Minecraft and looked at the Merger Mania files for the first time in, like, 2 months. Because at some point, I'm going to go and deal with that, and then release the like, documentation and everything to play the game on the website. There's nothing on the website yet, but I made a page for it that is currently hidden. Anyone have any other advertisements before we go?
I do not.
All right.
My commissions are booked solid for a while.
Well, Jader does commissions. They're really good, but not right now. So there's that. And oh shoot, latest train on Amtrak. Nobody look. That's the end of advertisements.
What is supposed to use Horizons that doesn't anymore? Hmm.
Listen, I don't think that's going to make it late. It just might make it not there anymore. All right, I think I found it. Oh, man. Okay, yeah, I definitely found it. All right, guesses one and all.
I'll take. Uh, it's probably gonna have to be southbound Floridian.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good one.
Southbound
Oh
Floridian.
yeah, the plane. We didn't discuss the plane,
Mr. President.
Mr. President. To clarify for those who don't know, a plane did crash into Tri-Rail.
Do we? I don't even know if we have an article on that.
I, I, I think we do.
I don't remember putting it in. I put in all the articles earlier today, and I did not see an article on the plane crash. I think it just didn't get put in Terminus news. But anyway, yeah, a plane crashed. Onto Tri-Rail. Well, okay, southbound Floridian. What other guesses do we have?
Is there a Sunset Limited?
There is a Sunset Limited in both directions.
Let's say eastbound Sunset Limited.
Okay, eastbound Sunset
I like the way
Limited.
you think, Jader.
Is there an eastbound and/or westbound Empire Builder?
There
or another
are
two?
several Empire Builders.
Eastbound Empire
Eastbound
Builder.
Empire Builder. Okay.
Yeah, since I was gonna do an eastbound limited, give me a westbound builder, I guess.
Westbound Builder. Okay, let's start with the Westbound Builder then. Empire Builder to Seattle is on time at Browning, Montana. It is also on time at La Crosse, Wisconsin. It actually just met the eastbound. The Floridian train number 41 is on time at Southern Pines, North Carolina. The eastbound Sunset Limited is 4 hours and 48 minutes late at Lake Charles, Louisiana. It is not the latest train on Amtrak.
It's almost home.
Yeah, it's close, but not quite. Meanwhile, the Texas Eagle to Chicago, this was not asked for, but it's an honorable mention. 6 hours and 5 minutes late at Fort Worth, Texas. It left San Antonio, its originating station, 5.5 hours late.
Yikes.
And finally, oh, sorry. I do have two more things to cover here. 3 more things. Empire Builder Chicago, 36 minutes late at Williston, North Dakota. Empire Builder to Chicago, 2 minutes late at Everett, Washington. Empire Builder to Spokane, 4 minutes late at Bingen, Washington. And finally, Empire Builder to Chicago, 8 hours and 52 minutes late at La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Yep.
Where it
As
just...
soon as you said... You said several, that was... Yeah, I knew what you were talking about.
I mean, there are several because the 8 and 28 just left their
Right, I mean, they
originating
run in
stations as
sections and all that, but,
Uh,
I mean, several implies more than the, 4 that run at one time.
And the Canadian is 2 and almost 3 hours late. It's not bad.
It's not bad today.
No, and we covered all the real bad ones. I mean, I threw in 22, the Texas Eagle. Anywho, terminations. Let's wrap up this show. First up is who? Jader. Jader, what is
Me.
this?
Would you mind?
It's not anything sus. This just came up in my algorithm last week. It's about an hour, and this person has longer videos of just kind of relaxing SpongeBob music.
Oh, okay. Is it supposed to say SquarePants because you wrote Squire Pants?
I was being funny.
Oh, okay. Okay. I just want to make sure that
Spring
wasn't
Blue
a typo.
Squire Pants.
Squire.
Bender?
Squidward Tortellini.
Hold on, I'm uploading a new one. I just changed it. It was Everlong. It's no longer Everlong.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
It's a, Foo Fighters song.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, we'll come back to you. Tyler? What is
Do
this?
you like my chariot?
I love bardcore.
Yes. It is gas, gas, gas in classical Latin. The problem, though, if you know a little bit about classical Latin, this was a language that existed long before the internal combustion engine
Oh
existed.
God!
So there are no words for the internal combustion engine.
Or, you know, car. So chariot has to suffice.
Yes.
Or gas. Well, I guess
so-
gas is a thing, just not in the same way.
Yeah. So don't worry. So just for Jupiter.
For Jupiter.
I was gonna say, imagine this
Okay.
blasting over the
Okay.
speakers in the Coliseum.
Yeah, the
Yes.
speakers in the Coliseum. All of that surround sound that they had back then.
One of my
Uh,
favorite comment on this is where did it go?
While you find that, Bender, what?
Splash Bob.
Okay.
So this
Splash
is
Bob.
in the funny drug game. Okay, and since I was thinking about it, and then Jader put in relaxing SpongeBob SquarePants music, SquirePants, and I could not resist. If you translate this text, it translates to Splash Bob.
Okay.
Yeah, just Splash Bob. It's funny.
Okay. Awesome. Anywho, some folks might know that 2100 got the test fire, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They put 5550's whistle on it,
Oh, that's so cool.
which is awesome. That's fantastic. So I'd like to personally thank Weibold for having a hand in not putting the whistle on it, but getting the steam. And I will not elaborate on how. Ryan?
Woo, woo.
I said no singing.
Nobody can do it like a steam train.
And now you get a point.
All right, we're gonna server mute Ryan.
Oh, sorry.
No, I'm kidding.
I remember drifting to Senate by this song. Anyways, great job.
So, nobody can do it like a steam train, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and non-binary pals. There, and all people on the gender spectrum.
I think that's.
How's that?
I mean, that's everyone.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Anywho, thanks for watching this episode of the Terminus podcast, or listening to it if you decided to listen. There isn't too much to watch anyway. We saw the same green train go back and forth about 56 times, and you can't convince me that it wasn't the same one every time.
Right, we can show you all the classes in a minute.
No, you don't need to do that because it was the
That
same
we do.
one. In fact, there are buffers just out of frame. It's like a Lionel set. It just bounces off and comes back the other way. I'm pretty sure that's how all trains in Japan work. It's for maximum efficiency.
I think it's great that I know where this is.
Anyway, we'll see you next week. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to you guys. Thanks to Steve and Wes, who I was emailing earlier about stuff on steamlocomotive.com. And in case of an emergency, call Conrail. Bye.
Bye bye.
Adios.
Bye.
See you guys.